Good evening and welcome to the Channel's newsroom here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The World Health Organization has said that extreme vigilance is needed as countries begin to exit from lockdown amid global concerns of a second wave of COVID-19 infections. South Korea has reported 101 new cases of coronavirus linked to a nightclub district in its capital, Seoul. Germany and China have also identified new outbreaks. The World Health Organization Director General said that a slow and steady lifting of lockdowns is key.
Over the weekend, we saw signs of the challenges that may lie ahead. In the Republic of Korea, bars and clubs were shut as a confirmed case led to many contacts being traced. In Wuhan, China, the first cluster of cases since their lockdown was lifted was identified. Germany has also reported an increase in cases since an easing of restrictions. Fortunately, all three countries have systems in place to detect and respond to a resurgence in cases.
Russia has now the second highest number of confirmed infections after the US in the world. The news comes after a fire broke out in a St. Petersburg hospital, killing 5 coronavirus patients in an intensive care unit. The blaze started after a ventilator treating patients with COVID-19 burst into flames. The fire was quickly put out and 150 people were evacuated from the hospital. Due to ventilator shortages in Russia, production has increased rapidly, but many machines date back to the 1990s. 13 people, including 2 babies, have been killed in an attack when gunmen stormed a hospital in the Afghan capital of Kabul. Locals heard 2 blasts and then gunfire. The attackers allegedly wore police uniforms and entered the hospital throwing grenades and shooting. There has been no immediate claim of responsibility, but the Taliban have said they were not involved. United Nations agencies have estimated that more than 500,000 people in sub-Saharan Africa could die from AIDS amid the COVID-19 pandemic unless governments move to address the issue. A 6-month disruption of antiretroviral therapy could set the clock back on AIDS-related deaths to 2008, where there were more than 950,000 deaths on the continent. That's according to the World Health Organization and the UN AIDS Organization. The Angolan billionaire Isabel dos Santos has called for her assets in Angola and Portugal to be unfrozen because she says there is evidence the state and courts have colluded against her using fabricated evidence. In January, prosecutors accused Isabel, the daughter of the former Angolan president and known to be Africa's richest woman, of mismanaging and embezzling $1 billion from the state oil firm. Her assets in Angola and Portugal were then subsequently seized. Ms. dos Santos, who denies all of the allegations, says one of the documents used in court was fake and was in fact a forged passport in her name. In Mexico, residents in a community close to Mexico City have destroyed a police car in protest against their local government's sanitization efforts. Despite a growing number of new infections, President Obrador has said that he wants to restart the economy. 35,000 COVID-19 infections and over 3,500 deaths have been reported, although these figures are likely to be far lower than the real numbers due to a lack of testing. And finally, a group of artists that includes Billy Joel, Sting and Mariah Carey have raised $115 million for coronavirus relief.
Just a castaway.
The Rise Up New York initiative raised money for Robin Hood, a charitable organisation that works to alleviate poverty in the city. The state of New York has accounted for more than 1/3 of the nearly 80,000 American lives lost due to COVID-19.
We're going to get through this, but we need to make sure we take care of all our neighbors, including our children. Nearly 400,000 school kids are without access to the resources they need to continue their education, and we can help them.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.